I really like how the picture turned out. Not the same as your backgrounds, but
This is, I guess, was a bedroom. Is a bedroom.
it was my office.
It was an office.
And a
okay.
guest room.
Yeah, and a guest room. Okay. And I see there's a spot for some models that you've been working on. It looks like you have another N-scale ship that you're
That's an N-scale ship.
got going there, and a few container cars.
That's a CNLVN kit.
Yeah.
Manchester Liners built some container boats for running on the Great Lakes.
Yes.
So they fit in the St. Lawrence Seaway locks.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, there were numerous container piers in downtown areas.
Yeah.
They're pretty much gone now.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes back to that era.
And I see above that too. You have some HO stuff too, eh?
Yes.
Not to be left undone. You have to have some HO stuff. And then over here, passing from your main railroad room, you have another cabinet set up. I really think it's beautiful the way you have all these wonderful cabinets underneath, and you have storage for your books. And this is looks like a major yard. What does this represent? This area?
This is basically a staging area.
A staging area. Okay.
But it's also the pulp mill.
Oh, I see. So let's have a look at your pulp mill. So would this be like one of the CPR pulp mills that are down that route that goes to the south? And
it's the color scheme of Dryden.
Dryden. Okay.
There were some photographs taken of the Dryden pulp mill,
Mm-hmm.
and then these were spray painted to match.
Wow. So that's quite incredible. You got lots of containers and trucks, and of course the 50-foot box cars, a few 40-footers, and you got wood chip cars all over the place here, and yeah, it's quite extraordinary. So you've taken photos of these places and you just copied the color schemes when you've done your modeling. So it looks like all you really need to do is write up a lot of these kit bashes and submit them for evaluation, because these are quite extraordinary.
So there you go. 2 train masters.
Very nice. That's very BC, like to see the CPR train masters. The operating concept here is what?
Loads in, empties out. So
right.
If you're operating the mill,
yeah,
you take your train card and build a train, outbound train,
mm-hmm.
and send it off. And of course, an inbound train will come in. So we have I'll just pick a card.
Yeah.
Each train has a card.
Okay.
And it lists what you're to do with that train.
Yeah.
And so we don't have, it's 1 card per train.
I see, and so you get to pick and choose the cars you want?
Yes. And the clips are by a yard. So that's intermodal. That'd be the container pier in the next room.
I see.
That
so
whole
it has
clip.
a major title, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on each train.
Yeah, so how many operators when you want to run trains here usually?
Depends how hard I want to work. So 4 or 5 is really nice.
Yes.
If they know what they're doing.
Right.
And then 1 person who's a newbie that you got to watch.
Right. Well, it's always good to show people new things that they've not done before. So I noticed that you have little square numbers there. I guess those are your locomotive numbers. So it makes it a lot easier than trying to run them in N-scale.
Yes, or trying to read them.
Yeah. So now you got a nice brake test on the go there, and you're good to go.
Yep.
Those SD40-2s are really nice. They sound great. And now we're off to another room. So now we're in the family room proper. It's where you like to sit back and by the fire. I see you got a really nice,
nice
fire, almost like a caboose.
A nice winter night. Read the paper with the fire going.
Yeah.
And something on television.
There you go. And of course, around the room concept continues around the room. And here we've got the most incredible detail. And this has to do with a container port. I mean, you'd think you were in any major port in Canada, the United States, with the way you've got the ships, the cranes, all of the containers, the vehicles, the loaders, unloaders. It's amazing.
So the big cranes on the ship were made by a gentleman, but Burt Industries in Florida.
Yes.
I think he's gone now, but at one time he sold them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I brought them back as my luggage on an airplane trip.
Yep.
Some people carry stuff in a suitcase. I carried container cranes. The ship was also by Burt Industries, but I get to thank Brian Earl,
yes,
who put it back together after Canada Post made it into a kit.
Oh my gosh! You mean it was a completed model when you purchased it?
The completed model was shipped, and Tom Hood came up with the lettering.
Okay.
To Brian.
So that was CDS letters?
That's CDS letters, CP ships. Have a look at the size of the CP ships on the side of the ship that he came up with.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's almost like a G-scale size.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from.
Yeah. Well, Tom was into that quite a bit. He probably had the photos and had them produced.
Yeah. So Brian fixed it into CP ships. I gave him a photograph of the ship.
Yep.
And
that's amazing.
In due course it came back.
Mm-hmm. And all the containers on board.
There's
just amazing, eh? A lot of collections. You never have enough.
Yeah, you can add as many as you want or take some off.
Yeah.
Like all layouts, I've ended up with too many containers, so I've taken a bunch off.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you had too many. You can never have too many.
You see the ship in the other room?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, it's hard to keep count, right? Unless you have an inventory.
So most people don't know what they're looking at when the container train goes by.
Right.
So this front track here is ready to go, but here's the generator container.
Yes.
CP's 2 gen sets will be in there, and the cables go, and these are all temperature control containers on that string.
Right. And
to get power from the generator container.
I see. Yeah. So this just basically operates just like a real container pier.
Yep.
Wow. Now, you got a set of bridges, but behind that there's a whole other scene that looks like it's from a different part of the world.
Yes, we call this the Gage Town Spur.
All right.
That's I'm from New Brunswick originally, so some people know where Gage Town is, some people don't.
Yeah, it's a big army base in New Brunswick.
And for locals...
Or
For locals who don't know where Gage Town is, I say it's base Borden.
They laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a German firm called ROCO, R-O-C-O.
Yes, they produced a lot of models.
Yeah, they produced a lot of N-scale military models. So there's Leopard 1s and Leopard 2s in there, and Abrams.
That's terrific.
Here.
And having that interest, you have to have some spot in the layout where you're focusing on the Army.
So there's your... Well, that's American. Okay,
right.
I know there's Leopard 1s in there someplace.
Somewhere. And then here's and it looks like you've done them as vignettes, like on the shelves there. So this is your Army scene, and then what's the scene right here?
This is little town, a little rural town.
Yeah. What motivated you for this particular vignette?
It was kind of crude. Yeah. So last winter I ripped it all out and redid it with Woodland Scenics pre-built buildings, with a couple exceptions.
Yes.
Kit bashed a lifelike building as a warehouse.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased how it turned out.
Yeah, it looks absolutely fantastic.
And then this is the sawmill, and I slapped the Irving name on for Down East. And that's again for anybody from Down East.
Yes, Irving.
Irving.
Irving Oil, Irving Lumber, Irving.
Yes. And so the wood chips go from here to Revelstoke, and then to the sawmill, to the pulp mill.
Boy, that's a long way to send
Yes.
wood chips, eh?
Yes, but that gives you the,
The concept.
and then the empties can come back here.
That's really selective compression because you like to represent Canada and places that you live and know.
And then we can load the cars for heading to the States.
Yeah, with the lumber cars.
And we have a staging track, which is States. And
Well, that's quite a neat section. So now we're going to keep moving, and we go past the fireplace. So below the TV, we have continued around the room running. I noticed you built it on the flat, which is pretty nice as far as uncoupling and not having things run away.
A lot less trouble.
Yeah.
Now, one time, this was a reverse loop. You can see the remains of the reverse loop here.
Yes. But as you expanded the layout, you put in some new industries here. It looks like you've got a salvage yard here for old.
Well, Norweld's a local fabricator in Orillia.
Okay.
So that's the Norweld shop.
All right. And it looks like very much like Orillia when you go along the street here with all the different buildings that have little small industries in them, and another fire department. So were you the fire chief here in Orillia?
No, of the hospital.
Oh, the hospital. Okay. So a nice yard here. So this is Orillia, the town of Orillia,
Well,
right? Sort of to represent it.
Sort of. But I used to work for a mining company, Hudson's Bay Mining, or Hud Bay. So this is a Hud Bay mill. And you bring ore in and you take concentrate out, and it goes to the Arrowhead Lakes barge.
Ah.
So you've got
some operational concept.
And this thing actually loads. In an operating session, you turn it off and on as you fill the cars. When you get your train full, then you can head to the Arrow Lakes.
So the stuff that's in there actually comes out through here
and down into the cars. So here, these are loaded cars.
Let's have a look. And so you just have to be pretty good at measuring.
You just have to watch. Turn it off.
Yeah.
The off-on switch is not the scale.
Right. That's okay.
So,
and lots of bridges across the waterways.
And this track is deliberately very tight and very steep, so only certain engines can come down here.
And certain size rolling stock.
Yeah, and 3 or 4 cars at a time.
Yeah.
So the old Minitrix H12s work really well in here.
There are lots of fine detail there in the power plant side.
So again, this can be an operator. When this layout was open on the convention tour, I had a high school student running this, and I looked over and people were 4 and 5 deep watching him.
It's pretty cool. Any animation on a railroad, but in N scale, that's awesome.
We're all clustered around. So I like little chemical complexes because you can have all these tank cars in and out, and people can't tell if they're empty or full. And you can ship stuff on this layout. You go from here to the various places where diesels get diesel fuel.
Yes.
And you also can haul them to the U.S. tracks. And you can haul cars to the pulp mill.
Yeah.
And then there's various propane facilities around the layout. So the propane cars go to those tanks to fill them.
Well, so that's obviously made from a variety of pieces and kits, right?
Yes, mostly.
Looks like Gilbert Lacroix tanks or something in the back.
So
that's kind of neat. And then over here looks like some sort of transloading facility.
Well, you got the main dock. And
Yeah.
There are 2 little container terminals, intermodal terminals on the layout. So an excuse for trains to stop, drop cars, pick up cars. So this intermodal here and intermodal at Revelstoke.
And the next little industry is awesome.
Yes, well, these wonderful models of cement mix trucks came out.
Yes.
So
you needed the plant to go with them.
So
they're highly detailed trucks, aren't they?
So
who manufactured those? Do you remember?
Athearn.
Jeepers, are they ever nice?
They did them in HO and N at the same time.
Yeah. Oh man.
So everything comes in. The aggregate comes in and cement by rail.
Yes.
To the ready mix plant.
And then, of course, you need the outside of town farming community.
Yes, so there's my farm.
With the grain elevators, the classic Canada.
Yes.
You need grain elevators.
And like all layouts, more and more detail filled in the grass.
Yeah.
But I don't care.
There you go. And lots of farm implements and stuff.
And of course, the cattle loading chute. So again, cattle cars in and out.
So, you have a nice little train there of Trudeau hoppers. I guess one of the things that's very classic in Canada is the use of these unit trains. Do you have something like a coal train, which is pretty popular and pretty...
Yes, we do. How about we park the grain train and go get a coal train?
Awesome.
Brian Earl has a cure. Pacific Western Rail at one time sold these coal cars. In packages of 50, all different numbers.
Wow. So you got 50.
I got 250s.
250s. So you got 100 of these puppies.
Yes.
One set with loads, one with empties, or are they all loads?
All loads. These are truck-mounted couplers.
Well, Ron, I'd like to thank you very much for having us over at your house to have a look at this incredible Revelstoke CPR layout.
We're delighted you came.
Model railroading is obviously a big passion for you, and I'm just tremendously happy to see such detail and such passion for the hobby.
You're very welcome.